Heyo, it's OmniDog here with another root beer review. That's right, I'm cheating on my diet and I'm trying and have a new root beer. This one I found at Second and Charles, a bookstore. Dogs and Suds root beer. I hope there's no dog in it, and I hope it doesn't smell like dog. And I'm going to open it away from everything because we know how spastic I am when it comes to soda and my laptop. Okay, Dogs and Suds. Let's see what it tastes like. Smells good. Pretty decent. A little bit of an aftertaste. Maybe that's because I had gum in my mouth first. Let's try it again. Little bit of an aftertaste of something. Had a good start and a good middle, nice and foamy, but I'm not sure I'm going to finish this bottle because it's an awful lot of sugar. But let's talk about Secret Warriors, the first book in my Hickman readathon. Now, it is no small task to take on a Hickman readathon. It comprises of, first, Secret Warriors. Then you got to go, let's see what I read. His Ultimate Comics, his Fantastic Four run, Hickvengers, Avengers #1. I've got Volume 2 that just came in that I have to read. And I read the first S.H.I.E.L.D., Architects of Forever, and I'm ordering the new S.H.I.E.L.D. book, and I will review both of those at a later time. That's a lot of reading. And Hickman, excuse me, you can tell I just had some root beer. Hickman densely plots his books. There's a lot going on in this Secret Warriors book. First, let's start with the art. The art is extremely good, as you would expect for a top-tier title like this. They get lots of great artists working on this, and it is a wonderfully illustrated book. Let me pull something from in the middle. Oh, that gives something away. Here's the problem. I don't want to give too much away because there are some of you out there who haven't read this yet. When Marvel says this changes everything, they say that a lot, right? This event changes everything. This book does change everything. Takes place right after, or right during actually, the Dark Reign era, the Dark Avengers era, when Norman Osborn's in charge of Hammer. So Nick Shield decides he's going to recruit some Secret Warriors, young'uns that have powers that are going to go on special secret missions of his. Here's some of these recruitments as they're going on. He gets Daisy, a 19-year-old with special abilities of her own. Organizational and leadership are among them, to go out and recruit these caterpillars, as they're called. In the end, it turns out there's 3 teams of these caterpillars. The book mostly focuses on the first team that Daisy goes out and recruits. So Nick has been kicked out of S.H.I.E.L.D. Norman Osborn's in charge of Hammer. Ugh, Norman Osborn. And there's a great part in it when you come to the list. Norman Osborn has a famous list that he wants to get everything done on. Well, it turns out Nick Fury has his own list, and it's a great moment in the book when you read it. But not only does Nick Shield have to deal with Hammer, but the bigger picture is Hydra and Leviathan. And Hydra and Leviathan, not only is he battling them, but Hydra and Leviathan are battling each other. And so he has to go in and try and make sure there's not too much damage around the world, while also fighting Hammer through subterfuge. It is an extremely well-plotted book. It has subsets of subsets going on, but all of them connect perfectly. And in it, in the book, interstitially between the stories, there's lots of guide work going on to help you understand. Do you have to know things ahead of time? I went into this cold with just very little knowledge of, well, I knew about Dark Avengers and Dark Siege and Norman Osborn. I knew who the Howling Commandos were. I knew some of the sort of secondary characters. I knew what Hydra was. That's really all I knew. I don't have a huge Marvel database in my head. I don't have much of a database in my head, but most of it's DC. But you don't need to know a whole heck of a lot. If you do want to Wikipedia the main characters, that might help. But I went in cold and I was fine because everything gets explained fine. There's even the very beginning of the book deals with Hammer and Dark Reign and things like that. In the very beginning, Bendis helps Hickman with the very beginning with that part of it. And then Hickman's off on his own and running with all his subplots going. And there's plenty of subterfuge. There's plenty of backstabbing. There's plenty of reveals. I can't really reveal. There's a main huge reveal in the first, 30, 40 pages that happens where you're going, oh, whoa. Nick Fury didn't know it. The reader didn't know it. And it totally changes everything. So I can't reveal that because it's a fun reveal. Also, a major Hydra character is brought back from the dead. I don't want to reveal who that is. Of course, he's brought back from the dead. But suffice to say that lots of stuff is happening in this book with his caterpillars trying to not only take down Leviathan and Hydra, but also deal with Hammer. And this is the Nick Furiest I've ever seen Nick Fury. I've been reading Nick Fury a long time, and he is really, in the Marvel Universe, probably the ultimate badass. He is 5 steps ahead of everyone in this book. And Hickman does an awesome job of laying out. See, here's one of the charts that helps you keep track of everything. This won't mean anything to you right now if you haven't read it yet, but this is one of the things that Hickman does well, because this thing was, I can just see Hickman's house. It must be just papered over with string and plot lines pointing everywhere, like a crime scene, dealing with all the various points where this leads. There is a lot of information in this book. It is not hard to read. It is very fun to read. You just kind of got to go with it. And I think major plot points were taken from this book for the TV series S.H.I.E.L.D., which I don't watch, but I heard that that's true. There's lots of strong female protagonists in this. There's lots of action and adventure. Whoops, I can't show you that page because that reveals who came to life. Here, I can show you this page. Some of the good artwork. But the bottom line is that this book is super well plotted, really well written, lots of fun to read, and well worth your time. Now, the Omnibus is out of print, but it's still available in trade paperbacks or on Comixology, whichever you prefer. And Hickman, I've learned this in my Hickman readathon, is not a writer you want to read issue, go away for a day, then come back to an issue. This stuff demands to be read all at once. You can read half of it, in a sitting and come back to it the next day, or a third of it, but I imagine it was frustrating reading this issue by issue when it came out in floppies. This is much better read in collected form. And I would get the trades or download all the issues and just burn right through them, because if you don't, you're gonna go, wait, who's this guy? What happened here? Why is this guy acting this way? Who's she? It's very well plotted. As I said, here's a meeting with the Contessa. And if you don't know who the Contessa is, you can Wikipedia her, but I just went with it. She reveals herself to be something interesting in the book. So the bottom line is, read Secret Warriors, read it as much as you can all at once, and enjoy one of the best writers in comics today, if not the best writer. Hickman has this thing plotted to a T. There are no loose ends. It ends well. It's got a good beginning, middle, and end. Great artwork. I can't say enough about this book. I can see why everybody loved this book when it first came out. But believe me, it reads better in collected form. As I said, there's lots of reveals. There's plenty of action in it, but there's a lot of cerebral stuff going on in Fury's head in this book, where he's planning out not only the next move, but his opponent's next move and how to counteract that. It's fairly thick. It's about 30 issues, 33 issues about, including the Dark Reign material and Siege material. So I highly recommend this book, and I highly recommend that you take your time reading it, but enjoy it to the max, because this is Nick Fury as no one has seen him before. Practically an intellectual, but still a kick-ass, hard-drinking guy who was at Normandy. How is he still able to command such attention since he's about 1 billion years old? He was at Normandy. Hey, it's comic books. He can do it. It's Nick Fury. He's an agent of former S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's my review for Secret Warriors. Get it, enjoy it, love it. And I don't think I'd recommend Dogs and Suds. Sorry, Dogs and Suds. Although I am going to take another drink of it. So, peace and love, peace and love.